My name is Martin and this is my story. I was born in 1963 and my mum was a single lady, Irish lady. And she was having me, and obviously being a mixed race child in them days, it was quite frowned upon. And what happened, Mum had to put me into care. So I ended up in care in Birmingham. And I was only, I think it was 3 months old. So it was quite a battle, just living life in the children's home, trying to find your place, trying to figure out, why you're here, as you've grown older, why you're here. But my mum used to come and visit me, and I know to spend every fortnight my mum would come. And then at the age of 14, I got myself into trouble, and then I had to go to court, and then the children's home refused to have me back because I was very much a disruptive child. Court put me into foster care because the children's home refused to have me back. So I was there for a while now. Then they was trying to find me a school. They couldn't find me a school. So in the end I had to go to an assessment centre. And then from the assessment centre I had to go into a community school. And these were all institutions. And eventually I left the community school at 16, back into foster care. Got into trouble again, stole some items there, and then the social worker just basically said that they couldn't place me anywhere. So in the end, the social worker put me up at his parents' home, and I stole from them. And of course, they couldn't put up with just me being in and out and just disruptive. So services gave up on me. I ended up just homeless then, and I was sleeping from friends' homes to friends' homes. Eventually I got in touch with my mum, because I hadn't been in touch with my mum for quite a while. I got in touch with her, and then I went to live with her. I got in amongst another crowd, and then we'd ended up getting in trouble. I was stealing cars, I was burgling houses. So I got myself into trouble again, and then we were going to a remand centre in Liverpool. And then I spent probably about 6 weeks there, and that was my first time actually going to a prison. Throughout the 80s, just in and out of prison. Just in and out of prison, just stealing, just... At this time, I wasn't scared about going to prison. I was basically institutionalised, and the institution was like my parents, really. I felt like, I felt more comfortable for some reason in the institution than I did out. So it was the late 80s where I went to court. I went with my drawings that I'd been learned the craft while I was in prison. But it just gave me the chance, and then I grasped at that chance. I met up with some people, and they were selling merchandise at concerts, and someone said, well, why don't you try selling your merchandise? Which I did. So I'd get one of my drawings, I'd print it up, and then some of my friends and that would go to concerts when it finishes and start selling them. And then before I know it, we was going around Europe doing this. During that time now, I got myself into drugs, become a crack addict, I got myself into heroin as well, and then there was something that was happening to me that I was just feeling, I don't want to do this anymore, I was getting myself into debt a lot as well, so I was thinking, what's the point? And then one day I had my computer, what I was taking to a shop, where my friend was giving me a lift to the shop, but the shop was closed. As I waited on this corner for him to go around a one-way system, then a lady come up to me and started to talk to me. And she said, would I like a relationship with God? And, I responded, well, I'd like a relationship with a woman. She gave me this invite and invited me to a church service. My friend had pulled up by now, and I jumped in the car and didn't think nothing of it. It was just, But that chance moment was like, the moment that changed my life forever, because I did go to the service about 2 weeks later, and there I met some who are called friends now, people who, introduced themselves to me, asked me if they'd like to study the Bible with me. And there was one study which impacted me the most, was the sin study. It enabled me to talk to, which I call my friends now, about stuff that had been going on in my life, which I'd never spoken to anyone else about. It was weird because it happened in McDonald's in Birmingham Town Centre. And as I'm sharing my heart and I'm sharing my sin, it was like an echoey. I always remember it was like just this echoey feeling, and just a sense of relief, just a sense of freedom. And then, you know, a few days later, got baptised, become a born-again Christian. And then, you know, that's when my life just changed, totally, completely. And then I met this beautiful lady. She come up to me and just invited me for coffee. And we sat down, we chatted, and just her joyfulness, just her beautiful character. We become really best friends, and before you know it, we got engaged and married. When we decided to get married, you know, I desperately at this time wanted to find out about my dad and try and search for him. So my wife helped me look for him, and we tracked him down eventually in Wolverhampton. And when we did meet up, you know, we embraced, and I was able to forgive him, and you know, we built up a good friendship for the next couple of years before he passed. We have a great son, Oliver. You know, we're so blessed to have him, and you know, the contrast between having a boy with us, you know, and being there at his birth to when my daughter was born, you know, before becoming a Christian. I was in prison, you know, when she was born, and it just, the contrast, you know, my life also now, just with my business, my maintenance business, you know, before I used to, you know, go into houses, you know, with people not wanting me to be there. Basically, I'm burgling houses, whereas to now, I get invited into homes to be able to, you know, do them up and make people happy, you know. Myself and my wife are now foster carers in the past 6 years, you know, which is the total transformation, you know, just the contrast between non-Christian and a Christian and what Jesus has done for me in my life now is just amazing. I had my first experience of a prayer being answered, and it was because my brother, you know, he was an addict, and he was going through a bad thing. I went to visit my mum one day, and she was really distraught, and asked her what was up, and she said, "It's my brother, you know, he's not well, and she doesn't know where he's gone. He'd caught a taxi from the hospital, but no one can find him." And I just prayed a prayer to God to please help me find him. It was just asking God, please, God, help me find him. And so next thing you know, I rung up the taxi firm, and then they directed me to the house where my brother was. So I was banging on the door, and there was no answer, but I could see through the window, there was little tear in the curtain, and I could see someone leaning up against the wall, not wanting to answer the door. So after about 5 minutes and that, we eventually called the police and the ambulance, and they come. Then the person opened up the door, and I ran in there in a panic and searching for my brother, and I went upstairs and I found him, and he was lying there, and I remember carrying him downstairs. All his side was limp. When they got him to the hospital, he'd had an abscess on the brain, and they said he could have passed away at any time, but they operated on him and, you know, got him better. And I know that was through prayer how we found the house where he was staying. The plans that God has set out for me is amazing. You know, if there is anyone who is going through anything, any battles, just believe, hope is still here.